Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Home Ministry has directed all the states and the union territories to conduct the drills to test and strengthen the country's preparedness, coming as it does because of the Pahalgam terror attack in which 26 innocent people were massacred by the terrorists. Now, as India braces for a major nationwide civil defense mock drill on Wednesday, that is May 7th, tomorrow, what can we expect? Now, what's going to happen is that these 250 districts of the country are going to get ready, and what the citizens should do, how the citizens should respond. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs has directed all the states and union territories to conduct the drills to test and strengthen the country's preparedness. Will the school and colleges remain closed? Now, that is question number one. As of now, there is no update on schools and colleges across these districts announcing a holiday or conducting online classes. That we do not know. But there are mock drills. Many people are asking on the social media, will banks will remain closed? There is no update on that. There has been no notification or an order regarding this. Now, what kind of disruptions may the citizens face? This is also another question, that because the local authorities are coordinating closely with civil defense agencies to ensure that the drills are carried out smoothly without causing a panic or any inconvenience to the public. Residents in some areas may notice some traffic snarls. That's what is being said about. Now, what is really going to happen during these mock drills? Now, during the mock drills, there will be a simulated air raid warning, evacuation rehearsals, blackout protocols, and even activation of hotline communications with the Indian Air Force. The exercise will also entail crash blackout measures, early camouflaging of vital plants and installations, and updating and rehearsing the evacuation plans. Now, the mock drills will also include the operationalization of the hotline and radio communication links with the Indian Air Force, testing the functionality of control rooms and shadow control rooms. So, how relevant is this mock drill exercise? And should it not be done regularly instead of an urgent situation like this? So these are all questions in the minds. And therefore, I thought, let me speak to Rear Admiral Suresh Grewal, who joins us from Dera Bassi. Thank you so much, Grewal, Mr. Grewal. It's wonderful to have you on the program. But would really like to understand from you that these kind of mock drills normally are not heard of. I mean, the very senior people who've seen the 1971 war said that during 1971 we used to hear sirens, and now again it's going to be like a rerun of this. But in today's times, how relevant would these mock drills be?
Mock drills are always relevant because the purpose of mock drills is to familiarize the civilian population with the kind of activities or the effect of the enemy hostile activity on either public facilities, that is civilian facilities, which could be water supply, which could be power grids, which could also be defense production industrial units. The purpose of mock drills is to ensure high morale of the civilian population, try and restore the services as soon as possible so that the general public life is not affected, and to continue the production of the defense related industrial units so that the war effort is not hazarded. These are the main purposes of civilian defense. What it involves is, it could be prior to that is anticipated enemy attack, that is civil defense, what it means, during the attack and post the attack. The mock drills is primarily to familiarize the public that this is the way activities will happen. This will primarily get all the civil defense volunteers to know their job as to what they are supposed to do. The officials who are involved.
You are talking about civil defense volunteers. Now, under whose jurisdiction will these volunteers come? Will they be given by the National Disaster Response Team? Will the Home Ministry hire or recruit these volunteers? How does it happen? I want to understand the technicality behind it.
As far as civil defense is concerned, there is supposed to be a regular training of civil defense, wherein the volunteers who are generally from the civilian population. They are normally not from the armed forces, police services, fire services. They are not from these, or even railways. They are not from these services. These are the could be lawyers, could be teachers, could be bankers, anybody else other than these. They can
No, so how
volunteer
does
as
it
a civil
happen?
defense.
Like all of a sudden, yesterday in the evening, late last evening, Home Ministry had announced that there will be a mock drill on 7th of May. Now, how does it happen? The how the volunteers will be inducted. That procedure, I'm sure, is it in place, or will they ask for volunteers now at the last moment?
Now, normally, this thing is already should be in place.
Okay,
District headquarters is actually responsible for their area. Earlier, it used to be the municipal corporations. Now it is the DC or the additional DC. It comes under him. Normally, they will have a list of volunteers. Normally, these volunteers remain as volunteers for 3 years. They are generally trained for about a week, and then they issued an identity card and they are called up. When they are called up, they are paid TADA for their time they are on duty. Otherwise, they are unpaid. But there are paid government employees who have this responsibility of coordinating all these activities.
right. Okay, so now let's take one by one as to what all has been announced. Now, the first thing which was announced was the operationalization of the air raid warning sirens. Now, how is it going to operationalize? How is it going to function? That all of a sudden we'll hear a siren, and then how is the civilian population going to respond, especially the students if they are in schools, or the homemakers who are functioning from home? I mean, what all are they going to be told, and is it going to happen at the district level? Who's going to coordinate all these efforts? Will it be the district collector? How does it happen?
This will be under the authority of either additional district collector or the district, but he's not going to personally do it. He'll have a
Right.
coordination team, and there will be people on duty round the clock. During their duty, if any of these things happen, they are to ensure that these air raid sirens are to be sounded. And if it is night, then blackout drills are to be done. And people who are outside or in schools or in offices, they are supposed to adopt a position wherein the personal harm is minimum. That is, lie on the ground in a crouching position and holding your hands behind your neck. This is a standard drill that is done to defend yourself. This is during the air raid warning. But after the warning, where the damage has occurred, what kind of services are required? Again, the same team will coordinate for restoration of civilian services. Either could be in railways, could be in power grids, could be in water supply, could be civilian casualties, wherein there will be volunteers who already be nominated under the district medical officer, and hospital services. These people will assist in taking the casualties.
No, but is during this, this operationalization of the air raid warning systems, I'm also told that there'll be a training of the civilians, students, etc., on the civil defense aspects to protect themselves in the event of a hostile attack. So, will they simulate that kind of an attack? Now, what if it results in some kind of a panic, or will they be told from beforehand to, respond like this? How does it happen? Because
When they
it
do,
situation may
okay.
also lead to more panic.
Actually, when they do the mock drills, they will tell you if this siren is heard, and if you're in the classroom or anywhere else, this is the position you are going to adopt. That means lie down, crouching under the desk or on the ground if you're in an open area, and cover your neck with your hands and as low as possible, so that if there are any splinters flying, you don't get injured. This is a standard position for defense in case of any of the attacks. Even if it's a grenade attack, you lie down low. And these drills will
Okay.
be practiced. All these people will be told. In addition, there will be briefings for teams responsible for restoration of services, or if there is a damage to the industrial unit which is affecting our war effort, then what kind of assistance is to be provided. All that will be briefed. These teams will be briefed. That is the purpose of mock drills.
Now, say for example, students are going to be familiarized. Now, students haven't got any notices as of now, because I have also small kids. I haven't seen any kind of notice coming from the schools that the students will be familiarized with this kind of an exercise. But what I'm preempting, that if the district collector in the area where I'm staying, and if the district collector is coordinating all these things, so shouldn't the schools be told about it? So shouldn't the students be informed about this from early, from beforehand when they start these simulation exercises?
Ma'am, actually the school would be knowing. Each school will have a civil defense trainer. One of the teachers would have taken that training, who is supposed to be responsible for training and briefing students. Actually, the training happens at different levels. The master trainers are trained at the National Civil Defense College in
Hmm.
Nagpur. They go to the states and district headquarters to train the trainers down the line.
All right.
Specialized training of all kinds is done at the National Civil Defense College.
No,
And
but these
I'm
trained
sure schools will be
personnel,
knowing.
so all these trained personnel, am I to assume that in more than in all these 244 districts, all these trained personnel will be moving down to various districts?
Ma'am, actually, every educational institution should have a National Civil Defense trained teacher who is
Okay,
supposed to actually brief the students.
right,
And normally to the DP head who takes the training.
right. Okay, does this really help in reducing the panic?
Yes,
Or yes,
it will certainly reduce the panic. It'll basically familiarize the public that even if this happens, the activities are to go on as normal because the panic assists the enemy. And our aim is to maintain the morale of the civilian population. And if there is, especially in the border areas, you'll have the community bunkers, where, like border areas in J&K, the villagers have been regularly practicing this kind of drills. They go to the bunker the moment there is a artillery firing from the other side.
no, so the border areas are familiar, but what about areas like the heart of city or the heart of any particular district in the central part of India? What happens to those areas? Border areas, of course, it's extra sensitive, so they will have these provisions and they will familiarize themselves much more easily than the entire country's population.
Now, with the grey warfare going on, where you can't really identify the enemy or they will be in uniform only, there could be some activities even in the heart of the country. And if there's an accident like this, and you may not get a warning, you may suddenly have an IED going up, and you may have casualties. So people are supposed to be aware. And I am sure each state, each district medical officer, DC is aware of all these activities, and that is how they go and control. There are teams going on. But school students are normally briefed about the civil defense. And generally, this siren heard, you're supposed to take this position in a crouching position, lie down on the floor till the time siren, or you are not aware that the air raid is over. It's gone over.
When these air raids are happening, there is the list which came out yesterday from the Home Ministry also talked about the provision of a crash blackout measure. Now, what happens? All the lights will be switched off in any kind of a crash blackout. But these days, you also have so much of technical advancement, like you have those thermal imaging cameras that no matter, even if in case of a blackout, they'll be able to spot if there is a human population there. So, what about then? And then again, the question that do these mock drills, do they look like outdated drills or something more needs to be added up according to the technological advancement of today's times?
Actually, what you're saying is right, ma'am. It may not serve the purpose that, as it was doing, say, 50 years back. That means the enemy does not have
Absolutely.
any idea where is the population. He may now get an idea that this is a populated area, inhabited area, or this is the target. He's got now the satellite positioning. He doesn't really have to look for it. He just sets up the waypoint, comes there, carries out his raid, and goes away. But
Absolutely.
if the civil defense is involved, it is to maintain the morale of the civilian population. So familiarization has to be done. Some drills have to be done. That okay, if you hear this, do this, this, this. It will certainly not be as effective as it would have been 50 years back. And certainly these things
Why do you say
technically,
so? You are saying that it might not be as effective as it was, say, some 50 or 55 years ago. Is it because of the advancement of the technology that now, look at those Google cameras where you just zoom in, you can even pinpoint who is sitting where, like what is shown in movies? So, I mean, if that is the level of the technological advancement, then do these exercises almost get reduced to nothing then?
not really. What
Something like
happens
you
is,
like try and create an
yes,
environment of a and it's just like preparing the population, the civilian population, mentally for a war, that look, we are getting ready for a war now. What purpose does it serve?
I'll take an example. Say, if you're watching Russia and Ukraine war, and Ukrainian cities, how people get into the underground bunkers. The entire city has got basements, which are called bunkers. The moment they hear an air raid warning, they all go into the bunkers. That means even if there are explosions on top, they'll not enter a bunker unless it's a bunker buster bomb. That means they know. In that case, they are doing a basically a pinpointed targeting, and it's just unfortunate if you happen to be there. Otherwise, as far as positioning is concerned, you are right. With the GPS positioning today, it's not only map and flying time. It is they're actually going by the GPS. So they know where the target is. They have the location, they'll come there. And they will release it. They need not come over the target. These days they can release bombs from even bombs from 10-15 kilometers away. Missiles can be released even from farther away. So
So,
effect
can I ask you
will
a
be
very
reduced.
simple question, that these mock drills which are being conducted, whether it is the air raid sirens or whether it is camouflaging the vital installations, are the technology, I mean, there's the technology which is being used in India currently. Do they look like some outdated measures? Or apparently, the Home Ministry also hasn't taken too much of heed to what has happened, and we are trying to just do a rerun of what has happened 50 years ago. Is that the case? Or do you think that something more, I mean, something newer or something additional has been added to this exercise?
I'm not aware if they've added new because we'll see tomorrow. But
Okay.
the basics, foundation drills have an effect of familiarizing the population and ensuring the basic defenses. And they know after the damage, these services are to be restored. As
No,
far as
but what
technology is
good?
concerned,
Right. Go
as far
ahead.
as
Go ahead.
technology is concerned, we will not be able to counter the advances in technology with the existing drills that we have. The effect of these camouflage and other procedures will be reduced because of the advancements in technology.
When I saw the list yesterday of the Home Ministry, it almost looked like, in the movies which you saw, in the 70s era, when those old movies you watch, it almost sounded like that. Now, this is the WhatsApp message which came to all of us, that following are the measures undertaken from the Home Ministry, the training of civilian students, provision of crash blackout, early camouflaging of vital plants and installations, updation of evacuation plan and its rehearsal. Now, basic contour of the mock drill remains the same, but it also sounds like that old hackneyed method which we have seen. I mean, we've been very young at that time, or rather not born also, when like 1971 one war happened. And so but it sounds the same because so much has been seen in those movies. So it looks like that old, same kind of old drill which we have seen.
You are right, ma'am. The drills, the list of drills, and this booklet must have been written about 20 years back
Yeah.
with the past knowledge. The Civil Defense Act actually came in 68. And this was a fallout of the 62 war and 65 wars, wherein after 62 war, they went into civil defense. After 65 war, again, they went through it. And then this Civil Defense Act came in. It was revised in 2009. There is a DG Civil Defense. He's a Lieutenant General ranks officer who's supposed to coordinate the activities of civil defense under the Home Ministry. And their job is to update their drills with the advancements in technology and even the impact of the likely weapons or the mass destruction ammunition being used by the enemy against our defense installations or civilian services.
No, but as far as our preparedness is concerned for the mock drills, do you think that the methodology is right? Because just a 1 day exercise, what purpose is it going to hold? I mean, just on 7th May, you do a drill, you forget about it, you sit for the, like, for many, many years, you don't even want to do it, probably. But all of a sudden, when there is, there is a possibility of a retaliatory strike or some kind of a warlike situation, then 1 day you hold a mock drill. Is that 1 day mock drill really going to help in any way?
I don't think it'll be 1 day, ma'am. 1 day they announced. It is almost like all these authorities, district authorities, have to do it, and they have to familiarize their civilian population and the volunteers about the way activities will happen in case there
Are
is
you
an actual
are you
hostile
hinting at the fact? Are you hinting at the fact that tomorrow, 7th May, is the beginning and it could stretch for many days?
No, it could be unannounced. Each district authority may say we'll do a drill tomorrow.
Okay,
It happens in various places like hijack drills. In all Western countries, they do evacuation drills against fire safety also in
right,
buildings.
right,
So it may just become a second nature for us.
right. But Mr. Grewal, another thing, that in 50 years back, you didn't have an active social media. Now, what kind of a difference will social media make when it comes to mock drills like these? Whether it is camouflaging, whether it is the air raid sirens, because sometimes and many times we've seen in a riot-like situation, social media often leads to more panic and more confusion. So, how with the presence of social media, what kind of a difference will it make to these mock drills?
Now, to the mock drills, it may some people may criticize it, and it is natural that 90% people who don't understand will criticize it. Some people will be happy to learn that there's some activity that is required to be done like this, and these are the requirements of civil defense. That may be 10-20% people. If it is repeated, then it will become second nature. Like what happened during Corona, everybody was going around with the certificate of vaccination, so it'll become a second nature. But the social media may not be there in case of actual hostilities. It may be a blackout of the social media also, because social media is the easiest giveaway, and
Okay, so you
it
are
could
saying
be a
that
reason to panic.
so which means that during these kind of mock drills, they could suspend the internet, they could completely disconnect the internet as well. There could be internet shutdowns.
They may actually they should,
They
because
should
it
do
may actually happen, so that the people are prepared for this kind of thing. Even if it is done for 3-4 hours, if I was there suggesting, I would have said, okay, stop this for some time. Just shut down all the mobile towers for 2 hours, because you are
right,
supposed to use certain communication systems which will even survive an raid or actual attack.
right, right. Okay, so but towards the end, and my last question to you is that these kind of mock drills, should they not be happening throughout the year rather than just making a 1 day exercise, or maybe in the face of a retaliatory strike, what we are heading towards, that probably there is a possibility when India will respond, we do not know. But all of a sudden we get to hear about this mock drill. Uh, so should it not be happening regularly?
Ideally, it should happen on regular basis, and it should be done at state level, need not be national level, although the home ministry controls it. Each state is responsible, especially the border states, for civil defense, and there are many cities where defense production units are there, defense establishments are there, so they become primary or prime targets for the enemy during any hostilities.
No, but
So in
how
all these places,
activity levels as far as these mock drills are concerned? Because I'm talking about state governments. Schools also, like supposing there is an earthquake, they should be training students how to respond. If there is a fire, they should be doing it regularly. But not many schools are doing it regularly, I know for sure. that this kind of an exercise or this kind of a mock drill doesn't happen regularly, maybe once in a year or maybe once in even 2 years or 3 years. So which means that these kind of mock drills are rare. So my question to you is that should it not happen regularly so that your civilian population knows about it, not just in case of a situation like this where a Pahalgam attack has happened and now we are heading for a retaliatory strike. So then only we come across these mock drills, because I've not seen in the last 7 years Modi government talking about a mock drill ever.
I
Even though
agree
there
with
was a Balakot, even though
I
there was a
agree with
Balakot,
you.
there was a Uri, yes,
I agree with you. These kind of mock drills should be done on a regular basis, whether it is done at district level, whether it is done at state level or at national
yes,
level. And I am quite sure after even hearing this kind of comments and going around on social media, this may become a routine at least for some time to come.
yeah, that's true.
And why should we not do it? It helps us.
True. Okay, so thank you so much, Mr. Suresh Gerwal, for joining on the Federal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.